appreciate an opportunity to come talk to you because in my job, oftentimes when we meet, it may not be a good thing. So this is big for me. The other thing that's a little bit scary is the fact that I'm standing up here with this behind me. I'm not sure how to take that. Graduates, faculty, parents, family, and friends, I sincerely appreciate the opportunity to address paramedic graduates that you see here today. The days of memorizing the Krebs cycle, cardiac dysrhythmias, the causes of metabolic imbalances for the sake of passing the test are not over. The critical thinking skills and the application of differential diagnoses, the decision for interventions versus empathy, or the combination of the two are barely starting. You're here today because you have demonstrated your ability to use the knowledge, skills, and your abilities to make those decisions and to take appropriate action. There are so many challenges facing you, not all of which you've been prepared for in your education here at Barton. You are soon to be exposed to your real test. And I don't mean the one tomorrow, although I know that's where your focus is. But that's in the delivery of appropriate patient care to those that trust your skills. Some of you will be returning to or become part of a well-funded, sophisticated, high-volume service where your patient care experience may be less than 20 minutes. You will have fellow paramedics that will continue to assist you as you develop your confidence and competence. Others will have a somewhat greater challenge by being part of the low-volume service with a 30-minute or greater transport time with patients you may actually know. By virtue of your graduation and becoming certified, you will become the senior tech, the team leader, the mentor, while you yourself work at building your confidence and competence. To make matters even more challenging, the service may not be well funded, including your salary, if you get one at all. You may be expected to be available 24/7 as the paramedic in that community to deal with ALS runs and transports as they're needed to support the citizens of your area, of your response area. And you become personally responsible for the additional exposure and continuing education needed to maintain the level of knowledge and skills and competency expected of a paramedic in a rural area. There are some that would say that EMS is built backwards. The most skilled of us should wind up being in the rural area because there's not much more to support those people that live in western Kansas, or in rural Kansas, I should say. If you're looking at operating within a big system, there's plenty of resources there, short transport times, and a lot of money to support that type of activity. Oscar Wilde once said, "Education is an admirable thing, but it's well to remember from time to time that nothing worth knowing can be taught." As EMS providers, we know experience is the best teacher. It builds confidence and competence to an open and eager mind. Today, though, is a much different day for all of us. Today, I get to tell you how it really is, from real experience with real people. I get to tell you what I know to be true about a paramedic. I believe a paramedic is the single most significant job there is. I'm not just saying this because this is a paramedic school graduation. And I'm not saying that because I spent most of my adult life, 40 years plus, working in pre-hospital care and contingency medicine. As with other EMS attendant levels who willingly put themselves smack in the middle of tragedy, who willingly seek out life's worst moments and bring hope and comfort, willingly face the absolute worst that humankind has to offer, It is the paramedic who takes control with a level head, a firm voice, and gentle hands. To add a little perspective, I remember lying awake at night thinking to myself, wow, if I called 911 right now, I would get me. That's it. I'm it. For all intents and purposes, that was true. There is no 911 for 911 to call. You're it. For that reason alone, most people cannot do this job. Most people are not willing to take the risks that you do every minute that you hold your paramedic certification. Notice I did not say every minute that you are working. I said every minute that you hold a paramedic certificate. Because your status as a certified paramedic, what is expected of you is not limited to who you are or what you do on duty. As the executive director of the board, I'm here to tell you that the state cares very much who you are and what you do all the time. As far as the state is concerned, who you are and what you do away from your job can have just as detrimental an impact on your certificate and your career as when you are working. Again, most normal people are simply not willing to be held to these kinds of standards. But you are, or you better be. Look at some of the EMS headlines, and you'll see how we, as individuals, fall prey to our shortcomings and what an impact those headlines have on all of us as an attendant. Utah Fire Chief charged with prescription fraud. Dead man resurrected after waking up at his own funeral. Missouri medic pleads guilty to healthcare scam. Neighbor forced to transport fatally injured toddler due to an ambulance shortage. EMT rescues his own child when called to daycare for child abuse. And this one I find interesting. Naked EMS instruction. Now I know Barton's on the cusp of education. But if my teaching job relies on this, I'm out of a job. And actually, the emphasis there, truthfully, is that our EMS educators get away from standardized presentations and all the tricks of the trade and actually start teaching what we know we should do for our patients. Experience has shown me that there are only three kinds of paramedics. There are the naturals, the ones for whom it is effortless. These guys have it flowing through their veins. It's just something that they are. They're the ones that work very hard to be the best that they can be. They read everything they can. They do twice as much continuing education that they need to. The ones who bust their butts to make it look easy because being good is that important. The third type are the rest. They're the ones who slip through the cracks. The ones who view being a paramedic as just another part of the job. The ones who reach limply for the bare minimum. The ones who, when you know they are working, you stay out of their way because you don't want to be involved in the delivery or shared delivery of their care. You individually will determine whether this is just a job or a career or a passion. Which one are you? Each of you knows that answer already. And I hope my words here today will solidify what you need to do with that answer. Standing here now, it seems surreal that it's been 42 years since I finished my initial training to deal with pre-hospital interventions, and that was battlefield medicine. During my transition to civilian EMS, my mentors showed me that as serious as this job is, it can also be fun. that more than anything, the job is about people. People who depend on you and deserve the best that you can offer every time, no matter what. Of course, I also learned the right amount of overall it takes to make it impossible to sit in one place on a bench seat. But that was 4 decades ago. I was 19 years old and ready to save the world. And back then I believed I could, and I believed I would. Now looking back on those 4 decades, I believe I did. If only for one family, though I know it was many, many more, I did change the world. And now it's your turn. The question now is, how will you change the world? As you grow personally and professionally, you realize the definition of success changes. You're here today, obviously, as a result of great effort and achievement. But what now? Who will you be? Will your commitment and your effort allow an elderly couple to enjoy just one more anniversary? Or will your complacency and disinterest cause a grieving widow to wake up alone for the first time in 50 years? Will your knowledge and skill remind you that a stomachache is not always a stomachache? Or will the culture of burnout and malaise allow you to believe that a drunk is always a drunk? Will your passion lead you to find or create innovative solutions to problems, old and new? Or will just enough be enough? Today's the day. Now is the moment to ask yourself not only what kind of paramedic you want to be or will be, but how you will change the world. Because for paramedics, changing the world is not some esoteric notion. It's what you're going to do every day. In fact, right now, someone somewhere is going about their regular daily life. They're not thinking of you any more than you were thinking about them. But they are out there, sitting in traffic, buying groceries, having a late lunch with an old friend, planning a wedding, making a baby, walking between classes, or just lounging by the pool somewhere having a drink. Wherever they are just doing their thing. They are happy and relaxed because they don't know that one day next week, next month, or maybe next year, their entire existence is going to be hanging by a thread. Their breath may be short, their heart may be fibrillating, their limbs may be convulsing, or they may be staring helplessly at a bloody, lifeless body of their child in the twisted metal that moments before was a bicycle. And there will be you. Your senses, your hands, and your decisions in that moment will be the difference between hope and hurt, life and longing, another birthday party or a child's funeral. What you do in that moment will change the world for them and for you, and that change cannot and will not be undone. So I ask you, who will you be in that moment? Will you be prepared or preoccupied? Will your passion for perfection carry that day? Or will the pursuit of mediocrity be too little, too late? As you sit there, the slate is clean. The choice is yours. And I offer you this. Being a paramedic is the single most significant job there is. It is rich with reward and possibly the most fun you can have with your shoes on. But there are no second chances. Not for you, and not for those that depend on you. Who will you be? How will you change the world? On behalf of the Kansas Board of Emergency Medical Services, I congratulate you on your achievements, and I wish you the best for your